Good morning, everybody. We're going to give folks just a minute to jump in. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. And like I said, we'll just get started in 1 minute. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So welcome today to today's live demo of our first arriving real-time information platform. Today, we'll show you how to bring clarity to the hundreds of data points your department manages every day, turning disconnected systems, alerts, schedules, and status updates into one unified operational picture. During this session, you'll see how our platform integrates over 130 mission-critical systems and features, including CAD, RMS, staffing, scheduling, training, and more, and transforms that data into actionable real-time insights accessible on digital signage, web, tablets, and mobile devices. You also experience how we help departments minimize outdated manual communication methods like whiteboards, bulletin boards, emails, and scattered systems, replacing them with always up-to-date information that improves readiness, strengthens communication, and keeps crews focused on what matters most. We respect your time and we'll keep today's walkthrough to under 45 minutes. After the session, we'll send you a copy of today's presentation so you can share it with other colleagues or decision makers who want to understand the impact of a real-time information platform in action. Again, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started. We'll jump into introductions. My name is Stephanie Harvey. I'm the Director of Marketing here at First Arriving. I'm previously a marketing communications public servant, transitioned to supporting products I truly believe in and recognize the value they offer our local public agencies. Joining me today is Bruce, one of our account executives who partners with clients across the Northeast region. Bruce is a leader in the fire service with over 40 years of experience across career, combination, volunteer, and military agencies. He brings deep expertise in training, command, and fire policy development. Thanks for joining us and leading today's demo, Bruce.
My pleasure.
Next, we'll just cover our quick agenda. In a moment, I'm going to hand things over to Bruce, who will walk you through the live demo and highlight the key capabilities of our real-time information platform, including dashboard views, mobile functionality, and how everything works together to keep your team informed and ready. He'll also show how 1,400 plus public agencies across the US and Canada use First Arriving to modernize communication, streamline their operation, and ensure critical information is always accessible where and when it matters. After the demo, we'll move to a Q&A session, followed by contact information and next steps. If at any time during the demo you do have a question, please feel free to submit it in the Q&A box. We'll respond there directly, or we'll have Bruce address it sort of as gaps in the presentation happen. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Bruce for the demo.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning, everybody, and appreciate the time that you guys are taking to learn more about what we do at First Arriving. A little background on myself, as Stephanie mentioned, I've been in the fire service for a little over 4 decades. As most of you know, when you spend that kind of time in the fire service, it just figures out how to make a lot of mistakes and what not to do, and you can share that information with everybody else. Part of the reason why I'm here at First Arriving today, though, is that internal communications is a huge portion of what many of us are trying to solve for today. And as we think about what we're trying to solve, how we're trying to go about it, I've always been looking for a way that we can start sharing information in one central area of truth. And that's really what we do here at First Arriving. So, about a year ago now, I had an opportunity to come and work here at First Arriving. And I just want to make sure that you guys understand that a big reason why I'm here today is because I truly believe in this solution. I see the value in it. And it's the reason why I'm proud to be able to represent First Arriving and share this information with you today. So, when we think about what we're trying to solve for, what you're seeing on your screen that's scrolling as I'm talking is the information or the communication platform and all the information that we can bring in. Now, if you think about what your current organization is today, many of us are struggling with having multiple different platforms that are going on. And we've got all of this information that's bifurcated between various platforms, different communication modems, and various ways that we try to communicate everything from text message to email to carrier pigeon and everywhere in between. So, what we're trying to do here at First Arriving, and what we're able to successfully do with the information platform, is we're able to bring all of that information into one central access point, whether that's a display physically in the fire station, whether that's a display on a desktop, or whether that's in a mobile environment, either in a vehicle or on a individual personal communication device. And you can access the same information regardless of where you decide to access it. One of the other things that we're here to help with, though, is I call it platform fatigue that a lot of people have today related to a records management system, a learning management system, a scheduling solution, a inventory management solution, and so on. What this means for many of us in public safety today is when we first come on duty, we're going to end up spending, in some cases, maybe an hour or more going through the various platforms, even with single sign on, to simply just find out if there's something actionable that I need to do. What we're going to be able to show you today is from call alerting through understanding if there's out of date reports I need to get done, a truck check that I didn't hit submit on, or whatever. And throughout the day, I can simply just look up at a screen and know if there's something that I need to do. I can see schedules, I can see events that are coming up, and so on. And then I can also find out what's going on in the organization at any given time, all in this one environment. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about what this can and can't do for you. So, one of the very first things that we want to talk about is we want to talk about call alerting. Now, one of the things that we acknowledge is that when we think about call alerting, many of us are using an existing platform like Active 911 or I Am Responding or something similar. This means that we get notifications on a mobile device. In some instances, we've also got other call alerting through our dispatch center that may display information similar to this on a screen. Now, one of the things that is the advantage of bringing this call alerting into the first arriving dashboard environment is that what we're able to do is we're able to now include this with a lot of other information from your organization in one central place. So, this is probably very similar to what you're used to seeing already. One of the things that is nice about what we can do, though, is that we can start layering and tiling various bits of information based upon your personal preference and what your organization needs to see. For example, from the example that you see on the screen, the incident type, the address, what units are actually assigned to that, also the turn-by-turn instructions, and your Google Street View as one example to make sure that you know that you're at the right address. Now, in addition to that, we can add additional tiles. We can bring in your hydrant layer as one example. So now you can see where your nearest hydrants are. And there's a variety of different ways that we can customize this for you based upon the integrations that you have. One of the other things that's also very nice about this is that we can also change what kind of map you're seeing. For some of us, a regular map view is okay, where in other instances, maybe a satellite view because of a wildland fire or an urban interface environment is more what you guys are needing. Again, the idea here is that you get to work with us, define what right looks like, and then we will work to be able to build out the solution to make sure that you're seeing the information the way you need to see it. Now, within the dashboard environment, the other thing that you need to understand is that what you were seeing prior to me starting the presentation is what we refer to as kiosk mode. This is the 24/7, 365 environment where we're displaying various information throughout the day about what's going on in your organization. When call alerts happen, we're going to transition into this screen, and then you get to decide how long you want the alert screen to remain as the prominent feature on your dashboard before we revert back to kiosk mode to share various bits of information throughout the day. So there's a lot of customization here. There's a lot of opportunity to be able to customize this into an engaging way for you and your staff. So that way they're able to see what's going on. In addition to that, we also recognize that there are a variety of different alerts that you're receiving that may be about a 911 outage, maybe that you're under a red flag warning. Maybe you've got a flash flood event going on in your organization. Whatever that is for you, through the iPulse alerts, we can now flash this information up on the screen for you and make sure that when these poignant events are taking place, now you can actually see that. Even understanding unit status for your primary apparatus, as well as maybe your mutual aid companies, whatever is available through your CAD, we can now make sure that you have good situational awareness on what's going on. In addition to that, as we start thinking about other integrations that you have, like your records management system, now we're able to take information from your records management system and start displaying it in meaningful ways, such as your turnout times for an individual station, for the department as a whole, where companies can now see how they're comparing to their fellow firefighters across the organization. Many of us have challenges with making sure that patient care reports are being turned in on time, and we can flag and make a place of prominence for when people are delinquent on getting them done. For many of us that are in transport EMS, in addition to that fire mission, now we're also able to understand which hospitals are taking patients, which ones are on divert, so that we can understand how long our in service and out of service and transport times are going to be as we go out through the day and through the week. Other things that you'll want to see from your records management include the incomplete reports. And depending upon which records management system you're using, will help to define how we can actually display that information and not just incomplete reports, out of service hydrants, daily logs. There's a variety of different ways that we can share information for you. And one of the things that we want to encourage you to do is that if this information is important and something that seems like would benefit your organization, we would love to actually be able to have a one-on-one meeting with you to where we can demonstrate the specifics of what you have. And then we can share with you what we can do for you in a meaningful way and then also in a customized way for you. Some other things that we can also do is that we can change color codes. So again, this is records management information, but now we can change the color scheme so that way we're looking at red, yellow, green as far as what's actionable, what's just needing attention, and what is okay based upon what's going on with your organization. Okay. So let's transition into another common platform that we're needing to use, and that is scheduling. So understanding who's coming to work, who's at what station, who's off sick today, who's marked up on overtime, and all these other scenarios, we can pull out of a scheduling third-party integration that you likely are already using. So here, again, we can not only show what's going on schedule-wise, we can also make sure that any events that you have in that system can also be displayed. And then again, there's customization here based upon which integration you have, how we can actually do that, what information we can show, and that's another conversation that we can have. So just a couple of examples here of how we can display this information for you so that you can get some different ideas about how scheduling can be displayed for you in a meaningful way without actually having to go into your scheduling software to know who's working with me today or who's at house 5 or whatever that scenario may be for your organization. Learning management. A lot of us are spending a lot of time online, taking online classes, managing our credentials, understanding what training is coming up, who didn't get their assignments done on time. Again, the advantage of coming on board with First Arriving is that it gives us the ability to put this information on a screen where if I'm sitting around the kitchen table or if I'm sitting in the watch office, whatever that scenario is, a quick glance will tell me if there's something I need to do. And then from there, we're going to be able to look. And then if I need to go in and log in, I can. Otherwise, we're going to give you time back because I can take one look and be like, oh, I'm good. I'm not on any of these reports. I don't have things that I need to do today. So also asset management, doing your truck checks, logging your equipment. Maybe you're using a third-party integration like PS Tracks as an example. And from here, we're going to also be able to display that information as well. So you can see what apparatus has been checked, what alerts are going on. So House 3's got a couple things going on related to bay heaters not working that everybody would need to know because of cold weather and those kinds of things. So there's different journals and training and those kinds of things that we can also do. And again, The idea here is that this isn't information that you're having to log in with our platform. This is information that we're going to be bringing in from your asset management platform already. And we're just relaying and displaying that information for you in a central location. So the other thing that we also want to talk about here is we also want to talk about weather and radar. We understand that weather and traffic are ongoing dynamic parts of what influences your day-to-day operation. Severe weather, as we've seen over the last few weeks, especially on the East Coast with nor'easters and the snowpocalypse of 2026 and all these different things, can certainly affect what goes on in our organizations. So, the idea here is that now we also have the ability, as part of that overall informational situational awareness, weather will be another part of that. As you can see from the example here on the screen, if you've got a thunderstorm coming in that's going to affect your area, this is something that now can be top of mind for your people. If you actually get weather alerts, we can also bring that up as a additional flag on the screen to make sure that people understand that you have impending severe weather that's going to be affecting your organization soon. You also notice that there is the ability for us to be able to bring in additional information through a crawler banner at the bottom of the screen. These are all customizable that you, as a program administrator for the first arriving dashboards, can actually go in and on the back end of the platform be able to make these adjustments. So that way, this information remains relevant and up to date. So that way, when people are getting the most common and current information available at any time when they're looking at the dashboard. As we mentioned, not only weather, but traffic is also a big part of what affects a lot of us, especially if you're on the eastern seaboard, western seaboard, or in any metropolitan area. We acknowledge that traffic changes. Weather conditions can affect where roads are blocked, where accidents are happening, and those kinds of things. So we have the ability to look at your Department of Transportation feeds. And not only can we show traffic maps like the example that we have here, but if we have the ability to identify how to transmit live feeds from cameras, we have the ability to customize this. So that way, if you have a particular station that has access to 3 traffic cameras through your DOT camera system, we would have the ability to be able to display this information. Now, as you can see from the example on the top right-hand corner, you can actually see there's a disabled vehicle. You can see that law enforcement is already on the scene. You can also see that it's a very heavy traffic environment there. So that way it can all be a factor for crews as they're deciding their response, which way they're going to approach, and a variety of other factors that affect your day-to-day operations. But as we think about all of the integrations that I've shown you so far, frankly, the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that that's really only about half of what we at First Arriving are going to bring to bear to help your organization communicate more effectively. The other half of what we do is we give you, as an agency and customer with First Arriving, the ability to now customize communication slides and be able to make sure that you're providing up to date, relevant information specifically about your organization at any given time. This is information that you can update daily, weekly, monthly, and make sure that people are aware about what's going on. One of the things that many of us are trying to do today is we're trying to build organizational culture. We're trying to change and make sure that members are excited about being a part of the organization and that they're receiving congratulatory acknowledgement when they do things right. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. The best part of this is we're going to provide a variety of different templates to use as the basis for how you're going to be able to communicate more effectively. And from there, you can brand it, you can logo it, you can do all kinds of different things to make sure that it's relational for your organization. And it also makes sure that everybody understands that this is actually coming from your organization. Things like being able to make an announcement about an important training that's coming up, who's assigned to it, those kinds of things. The fact that you're bringing in new infrastructure, for a lot of organizations, the fact that now we actually have new modern gear racks is a big deal. And it gives you, the organization, the ability to call that information out. When you catch people doing stuff right, when they get awards of one sort or another, now we can actually bring that information to prominence. When it's hot, reminding everybody how to take care of themselves. When we bring in new members to the organization, which we're all struggling with recruiting and retention today, when you get new people or people get promoted, it's a big deal. And now we're going to give you the ability to call that out. When you think about target hazards within your jurisdiction and wanting to be able to pass out a update to an SOG or something along those lines, all of these things are things that you can do as an example. We also give you the ability to share important information across the organization. And that organization and information can be bifurcated to focusing on the organization as a whole, individual stations and quarters, and then also bringing in industry news feeds from Fire Rescue One, as an example, or fire engineering, or whatever that source may be for you. Also, being able to bring in your organization's Facebook page, your website, and other things that are going on, and make sure that this truly becomes the hub of what's going on and what's important for your organization, all in one central location. So, as we think about all the different things that this platform can do for you, hopefully you're starting to see the value of that. And there is a myriad of different things that we can do for you, which is the reason why scheduling time to meet with myself in the Northeast or one of our other sales reps are how we can have a more specific conversation with you about your organization, your specific needs, what your third party integrations are, and those kinds of things. One of the other things that I want to point out from the screen that you see here is that what this doesn't really look like, but I do that in purpose because I want you to understand what it really truly is. We also give you the ability to now communicate via video. So whether you're using Vimeo, whether you're using YouTube, whether you want to give the chief the platform to do it, and chiefs that may be on the call today, this is a great way for you to now have an interactive and engaging way for you to be able to have a communication come from the desk of the chief to talk about what's new, what's exciting, and those types of things. And then you also have the ability to work on the back end of the program. And I'll just show you a little bit about what the administration panel looks like. Okay. And a lot of times people are intimidated by this technology. How does it work? How do I do this? And all that kind of stuff. The reality is, without getting into the nuance of how this actually works, what you need to understand is that generally speaking, if you're able to navigate the various applications on a computer today, if you can build a PowerPoint presentation, if you can work in Word, if you can build a spreadsheet and those kinds of things, you're going to have the tools necessary in order to be able to effectively use this platform in a new and engaging way for your personnel. So as you watch the video and you can see some of the tasks that were going on there, folks, it's actually very, very intuitive and it's not hard. The other part of it is, as you come on board with First Arriving as a customer, we're going to include training on how to do these various tasks and how to make this work for you. So we can give you some peace of mind there that we're going to set you up for success. Now, it is highly likely at this point in the presentation that there are many of you that are like, well, this is something that I might be interested in, but I've got some specific questions about how does this work, what's available, and some of those things. So what I want to do is I want to transition to our website. And where I'm at now is at www.firstarriving.com. And right now I'm in the platforms tab. So it is / platforms. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through what's available from First Arriving and our information platform for your organization. The very first thing that I want you to know is that we have a platform that works well for virtually every organization. It does not matter if you are a volunteer organization, combination, or career. And it also doesn't matter if you have one fire station or if you have 100. What we have is a scalable solution that we're going to be able to build out for you to meet the needs of your organization, regardless of type or size. And if you're joining us today as an EMS agency or as a law enforcement agency, and you're like, well, this looks like a bunch of fire stuff, well, apologize for that. But what you have to understand is that we can structure this solution to meet the needs of any public safety agency, regardless of type, even though that a lot of the visuals you're seeing today is from the fire service perspective. Okay. So as you look at this, one of the other things that we want to do is we want to talk about the various packages that we actually have. So we basically provide three different levels of service. And when you look at the platforms and the packages tab, you're going to be able to see what this is. And I want to walk you through that so that you understand kind of what you can expect from first arriving. The very first part that I want you to notice is exactly what's included, regardless of what level of service you're going to select. So you can see that we've got best in class support. You can see that we're going to get the weather radar that we talked about. You're going to get zone content delivery based upon individual stations. So if you've got 5 stations in your organization, station 1 and station 5 will not see all of the same stuff, and they'll have the ability to see individual station information as well as what's going on in the organization. The news feeds, the traffic cameras, and those kinds of things that I demonstrated to you a little while ago are also included in every packet, regardless of level. So if you're wondering about this and if you're wanting to go and talk to the chief about it or something like that, I encourage you to go to the website. And this is where you can access this information at any time to be able to talk about that level of service. In addition to that, we have 3 different levels of service, and I'm going to explain those to you now. In the basic level of service, this is when you have an organization that's just now getting started thinking about various integrations, and we're just now starting to embrace the ideas of a computer aided dispatch system. You maybe got active 911, maybe a records management system, maybe a scheduling software, something like that. But a lot of the pricing is based upon third party integrations. So think about it like these are solutions that you already have in place that we would want to bring information into the dashboard for, and how many of those different conduits do we need to establish. So with a basic platform, you're going to, if you've got 3 or so, then that's going to put you into that basic level. The reason why we go up to a standard is because with standard, you're going to get more service, and you're going to also be able to bring in more third party integrations. That standard package also is going to give you some more support. It's going to give you things like ESRI layers. So that way, as you're thinking about various layers in CAD and those kinds of things, you're going to get some additional service to go along with it. The main advantage of the standard package, though, is that it's going to give you the latitude that maybe you've only got 3 third-party integrations today, but you're considering going to FRI or going to FDIC this year because you're shopping for a learning management system or an asset management solution or something like that. You're going to have the ability to expand without having an impact on your budget going forward. And so this is a great entry level solution to be able to get into from a service level standpoint at the standard package. Now, we also regularly do business with large organizations with complex information infrastructure already in place. This is where we get into the enterprise level. What this basically gives you the ability to do is to bring in all of the integrations that you're currently utilizing. It also is going to give you a lot more flexibility with various views, various locations, and it's going to get you a lot more support and flexibility. And so what we will do at a demo is that we're going to go through a discovery phase. We're going to find out what technology you've already embraced up to this point, what's on the roadmap in the future for you. And from there, we'll work with you to define what level of service that you might be interested in and what would make sense for you. And from there, we can build out a proposal of services to help you understand what potential costs would be. Now, in addition to that, we also want to talk about where does this information get displayed and how can you actually view the information. So from the screen here, one of the things I just want to remind you of is that most people, if you talk to us that have a history with us, and they talk about first arriving, they talk about us being a dashboard company. And in the very beginning of our company, we certainly were that. The thing that we did better and more than anything else is that we provided the ability to display the information we've talked about today in the wall in the fire station. And maybe you did it in multiple locations. Maybe it was the day room, maybe it was the apparatus bay, and so on. But today, First Arriving is a much more robust company, and we give you a lot more flexibility with your dashboard environment today. Not only is it a physical display in the station, but now we also have a mobile application information that's good within the Android environment or the Apple environment, regardless of device. Now you can actually access that information literally from everywhere. And one of the things that we started offering last year that we want to make sure that you're aware of is that you can actually purchase an individual user account. So that way, each member of your organization, regardless if they're in the facilities for your department or if they haven't been there in 2 weeks, they're going to have the ability to see what's going on, receive the messaging that you're communicating, and so on for what we've talked about today. The individual user accounts are an additional one cost per year per member. But again, this is really part of a full solution that is scalable based upon what your needs are and why that demo is so important to come and let us help build out a proposal for you. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about for just a moment is I want to talk about the various third-party integrations that we have available. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is working with a lot of the companies and a lot of the functionality that is in the public space today and making sure that we can conduit that information into your dashboards in a meaningful way. So one of the common integrations that a lot of the fire service and EMS today are using is Active 911. So if you go to the interactions page or integrations page rather on our website, what you're able to now see is a list of all of the various integrations that we formally have today in alphabetical order. One of the most common ones is Active 911. So when you click on Active 911, if that's an integration that you would want to have in the dashboard environment, you now are empowered to be able to look at the dashboard or the website yourself. And then from there, you can see the features that are included. You can see what actions can actually happen. And you can see some examples of different ways that we can display your emergency response information and your dispatch information for you. And there's a lot of different things that we can do as some examples to give you an idea about why this might make sense for your organization. So let's go back for just a second and let's look at another one. Another big integration that a lot of people have today is ESO. So let's look at ESO just as a general practice. So this is your records management system. If you're trying to look at email parsing, if you're trying to understand your different calls and those kinds of things, this can give you a couple of examples of that. So again, the other thing we want you to know is as you're considering if first arriving makes sense to your organization, a lot of the question becomes, what can this do for me? And as opposed to me being in a webinar environment and Stephanie and I sharing some information with you today, one of the things that we want to do is we want to empower you to have information at your fingertips. So as you're having those internal conversations, well, will it do this? Will it do that? How does this work? And so on. We want you to know that right from our website, in addition to the webinar that there will be a recording of today and so on, we've got this information available to you. Most importantly, though, what we want to remind you of is that we make ourselves available to meet with you to discuss how first arriving can help you. And then from there, how can we build out a solution that balances what you need along with budget and making this something that is going to be mutually beneficial for your organization and truly an enhancement operationally for your organization, not only today, but in the future as well. One of the other things that I just want to assure you of is that not only is this what First Arriving is doing today, but First Arriving is constantly evaluating what our current capabilities are. Our chairman, Alex Ford, is constantly looking at new and engaging ways to innovate what we're doing here. And there are a lot of exciting things on the roadmap in the future. So not only is this a solution that you're going to be able to count on today, but it's going to be a solution that you're going to be able to count on in the future as well. So I've provided a lot of additional information here. Hopefully this makes good sense to you. I am going to go ahead and wrap up here just a little bit early, so that way we've got some time for questions and answers if you would like. But I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys today, kind of share with you what we do here at First Arriving. And like I said, the main thing, folks, is if this is something that you're interested in, why don't you schedule a demo with us? And that way we have the opportunity to be able to meet with you. We can talk about your specific organization and what it is that you guys need and how First Arriving can help you. And we look forward to that opportunity to speaking with you soon. So thanks for joining us for the webinar today. Stephanie, I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. It doesn't look like we have any open questions at this point, but a good reminder, if you do have a question, please feel free to drop it in. While we're waiting for those to come through, I'm just going to share some next steps. So give me 1 second to pull up this screen. Like Bruce mentioned, we'd really encourage you to schedule a full demo where we can take a deeper look at your current technology and show you exactly how they integrate with our real-time information platform. Um, you can schedule that live demo at firstarriving.com/contact us or by emailing us at getstarted@firstarriving.com. Like Bruce also mentioned, a copy of today's presentation will be sent to you for reference and for sharing with colleagues who may benefit from seeing how our platform delivers critical information, whether on station displays, dashboards, or mobile. I don't see any questions coming through. So I think with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to thank you again so much for your time today. We're excited about the opportunity to collaborate with you in the near future. Please stay safe and take care. Thanks, everybody.